This is the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling.
What the world is watching.
A lot of people have been talking about this triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. And since they had made it official what CM Punk's favor was this past Friday on SmackDown, I thought I would expound on some of the rumor and innuendo that's been going around on the internet about potential outcomes for this triple threat match at Night 1, the main event for Night 1 at WrestleMania 41. Now, CM Punk's favor reveal has been that he is going to have Paul Heyman accompany him to the ring at WrestleMania 41. Now, one of the things that played out that was very interesting was that Roman Reigns, once CM Punk revealed that it's going to be Paul Heyman that accompanies him to the WrestleMania main event of Night 1 in the triple threat match, Roman Reigns wrote that off as pretty hilarious. He just was like, there's no way. You guys don't understand. I own him. He's mine. He will do, even if you tell him, even if I tell him, go ahead and accompany Punk to the ring at WrestleMania 41, he's not going anywhere. And an emotional Paul Heyman basically said, you're wrong. I cannot tell CM Punk no. And that threw Roman Reigns off. Now, there's a great story to be told here, and I believe they can tell this story either this Monday or Friday on SmackDown. You can tell this story easily by CM Punk coming out and saying that for a while now, ever since Cody Rhodes finished that story, Roman Reigns has had an opportunity to fall on his shield, to fall on his sword, to admit that he was wrong and that he was sorry for what he put not only the wise man Paul Heyman through, but also his family, his flesh and blood, the psychological trauma that he put them through in order to maintain his prominence as the WWE World Champion for as long as it was. He can then admit that he was wrong, and he never did that. When he went and disappeared and the new bloodline formed with Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and eventually Jacob Fatu, there was a lot of chaos going on. Roman Reigns was nowhere to be found, and Paul Heyman tried to call Roman Reigns. He never answered. So one of the things that can be brought up to explain why Paul Heyman would refuse to say no to a CM Punk is essentially the same that you would say for a bad relationship between the couple and the ex comes around and wants a favor. There's and I know it's a weird analogy, but here's the thing. Paul Heyman never got that apology. He was put through a table and was out of commission, and Roman Reigns was never there. He never said, I'm sorry for leaving you hanging. I'm sorry for leaving you out there to the wolves. He never apologized. And fans have been insinuating that this is one of the things that have been an overarching theme in this bloodline saga, is that Roman Reigns has come back into prominence and has really never spoken about those things that are kind of the elephants in the room, things that you need to speak about, get off of your chest, and make amends. He has never said it. He's just brushed it aside and had business as usual. And if you look at it, the Jey Uso, the Jimmy Usos, and the Sami Zayns of the world, they pretty much got together and got the band back together at Survivor Series and never made mention of the fact that Roman Reigns has not admitted that he was wrong, and that just maybe they needed to hear and I'm sorry. And so that's a story beat that I feel is going to play in effect in this triple threat match. One of the other rumors that I've heard is that Seth Rollins is a potential for Paul Heyman to join up with and turn on both Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Now, it's not something that I feel like I can see necessarily, but I am an open-minded human being. I do leave open for absurd and out-of-the-box type of stories, and I think you can make that work. I don't know if I would do it. I don't know if it necessarily would even make sense in a large canon of the saga between all of these guys. I think more so what would make sense, aside from Paul Heyman turning on both Roman Reigns and CM Punk and joining up with Seth Rollins, are two things. Paul Heyman can accidentally cost CM Punk the match at WrestleMania 41, giving Roman Reigns the win. That accidental mistake can be looked at as an on-purpose mistake. And it can happen when Roman Reigns can say to Paul Heyman, I'm sorry. If he were backstage right before the match, sometime backstage during the show, or even on the Friday SmackDown before the big event, pull Paul Heyman aside and say, I'm sorry. That right there can be enough to leave an opportunity open for Paul Heyman to make a quote-unquote mistake or an actual mistake, and for Punk to second-guess whether or not that was done on purpose. That is something that I can see playing out. Another thing that I can see playing out in this story is that if Paul Heyman gets hurt. Now, okay, I am a wrestling old head here, so one of the story ideas that I've had floating in my head is the same when the Mega Powers exploded. Now, if you remember the Randy Savage Hulk Hogan tag team back in the late 80s, Miss Elizabeth was in between them. And Randy Savage was a very insecure individual when it came to Miss Elizabeth. He was very, what can I say without getting demonetized? He was a very jealous human being, and he held Miss Elizabeth close to his hip. You understand what I'm saying? So there was a moment when Elizabeth got on the apron, she fell. Hulk Hogan noticed that she had fallen, and instead of finishing the tag match, he picked her up and took her to the back. That infuriated Randy Savage. He wanted to know why Hogan left him, and better yet, why he was so concerned about the status of Miss Elizabeth. Now, something like that I can see really playing a part in the conclusion of WrestleMania is that Paul Heyman can get hurt. He can fall off the apron, he can fall through a table, he can accidentally get hit, and that would send CM Punk out to the ring to check on Paul Heyman. Maybe even carry him down the stage, that long 1.5 mile stage that WrestleMania usually erects for these big events. That would be something to see. I would laugh my tail off if I saw that. But it can be something as simple as that. CM Punk goes to check on Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns takes the opportunity to pin Seth Rollins. There are a lot of different ways that you can go with the way that this story can play out. One of the things is, however the outcome, I feel like we're getting a Roman Reigns victory. Although I would love to see Seth Rollins come out victorious in this type of a scenario, because Seth Rollins has done a lot to kind of help further other storylines at the cost of his victories, his win-loss record, if you will. And a good WrestleMania win like this in this match, especially if Seth Rollins beats CM Punk in his first WrestleMania main event. I mean, CM Punk has had the one up on him in a couple of different scenarios, but Seth Rollins won the cage match because of Roman Reigns. Now, if Seth Rollins actually pins CM Punk because he's distracted by Paul Heyman or something along those lines, I think it can go a long way to continuing their rivalry, which I personally believe is far from over. I think we're going to get the rest of the year, we're going to get CM Punk and Seth Rollins in some sort of entanglement going into 2026. I believe that to be true. I think that's the best storyline that you can get for CM Punk at this very moment, and I would like to see it continue out throughout 2025. I think they've only touched the surface on what they can do with this storyline, and I think it can continue throughout the year. So, I mean, that's one of the ways that I can see this outcome for the triple threat match taking place. However they go about it, I am going to be sitting back watching as a fan, just like all of you. But what do you guys think is going to happen at the triple threat main event of WrestleMania Night 1 between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins? Where is Paul Heyman going to factor in? Is he going to cost Roman Reigns the match? What about CM Punk? Is he going to cost CM Punk the match at WrestleMania? And is he going to side with Seth Rollins? You guys let me know in the comments. Thanks again for stopping by the portal of pro wrestling. And as always, you guys, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It's free. I'm not charging any subscription fees or anything like that. It's just to keep the algorithm going, keep me pushing out there, and keep me putting out this content, talking about professional wrestling and what potential theories and outcomes they may be, and discussing it with all the love and passion of a wrestling fan of over 35 years. You heard that right. So thanks again, as always, and stay tuned for more.